All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Saturday Bible study. And never, hang on a second. Okay. It's interesting. The Queen of the South. The Queen of the South shall rise up in the judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. For she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, one greater than Solomon is here. When the unclean spirit is gone out of the man, he walketh through the dry places seeking rest and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then he goeth and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it also unto this wicked generation. There's a lot of different ways to look at that. Basically, what's going on is goats get deeper and deeper into being goats. They collect more and more demons. But also at the very end times, that's the mark of the beast. Demonic entities are going to enter into people. They'll be uploaded through the technology as the ghost is in the machine. And they will enter into the humans, the human goats. And the last generation will be, of course, then the most wicked generation. And that's what Iron Man was about. That all goes back to iron mixing with clay from Daniel 2:43. And they, but just like iron does not mix with clay, it says they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man. And that's by entering in and changing their DNA to become these demonic entities. It'll be instantaneous when this takes place. Just like when you watch that movie, The Exorcist, that's what they were showing you. That girl had these amazing powers and she did not look the same. And then she went back to her regular self. Well, at the end times, after the mark of the beast, the human host dies off. And just like the movie Venom showed us that, these humans are actually, they're just using the human body as an avatar. So it's very deep, it's very sad, and it's very scary what's coming upon this earth. And if we really knew he wouldn't want to be here, and we don't want to be here, but many sheep will be awakened and they will be here. I do not think I'll be around for the mark of the beast time. I do not. While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren, oh, this is great, you all are going to love this, stood outside desiring to speak with him. Yeah, it's the next verse, isn't it? Basically, what you're getting into today and tomorrow, because it does spill over, is that we're going to go ahead and add this extra verse today. We'll begin with it tomorrow also. While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. So Jesus and his brothers, he had brothers. Of course, Catholic Church will tell you that's not true. She was a virgin forever. Well, that's kind of sad, and it's not true because yes, she did. Her and Joseph, of course, copulated after Jesus was born, and that made their marriage real. And Mary had more children. So Jesus had brothers. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and your brothers stand without, desiring to speak with you. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother Who are my brethren? You see, because now we're going to understand that Jesus's brothers were sheep. So don't take this the wrong way. He's not speaking poorly about them. He stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, "Behold, my mother and my brethren." In other words, the family is the family, the church is the church. They're all equal. They're all the same. And your true brothers and your true family is the church. That's where your allegiance lies. That's where your true allegiance is. That's where your true love is. Your agape. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, that's the whole church. The same as my brother and sister and mother. So I will load this as if we did not do 50, so I won't be confused that I lined everything up properly with the pages of my dad's old King James Bible. We're actually in column 3. And now we move on to Daniel. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment, I did not prep this. So I need to, I'll go ahead and listen to what I taught last year on it just to make sure, just to kind of remember. So hang on just a second. All righty. I went over last year's study and sounded good to me. Let's go over it and see what we think. I want to start off with something that I got from a YouTuber who I admire. He said, and he's quoting a Bible verse. He said, "Let God be true and every man a liar. Take everything to prayer." Take everything to prayer. Let God be true and every man a liar. So understand this is my best teaching on this. It's always a little gray. I'm not dogmatic about it like I am about other things, as far as hell not being eternal torment, or God doesn't love everybody, that he prearranged his sheep before the foundation of the world, so on and so forth. But this is my best guesstimations, hopefully, from a spiritual sense. Then we've got the truth if it's from the Holy Spirit. If not, then it's my flesh. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. So this is talking about building Jerusalem I don't really like my teaching last year's, now that I'm looking at this. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. I believe that's talking about Jesus, the Messiah, and the real Jerusalem, the church, and the city of Jerusalem. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off. That's Jesus. but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. This prince is not capitalized. So now we're talking about the Antichrist shall come and destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. Yeah, I think I mistaught this in my last study. I did. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for discernment today, on this day. That shall come destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of war desolations are determined. And he, the prince, the Antichrist, not the capitalized, the Antichrist will confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. Now, this could be 7 days or 7 years. This could be completely separate from any other times it's talked about 42 months, 1,260 days. And what's also very ambiguous is all of those marks, all of those time frames could be cut short, because Jesus says, unless I cut those days short, no flesh would be saved. What days? The 42 months, the 1,260 days, the 3.5 years. So we can assume that this 1 week means 7 years. We can look this up again in Blue Letter Bible. Let's find a keypad here in the dark and get your finger set. For 1 week. It could be the number 1. Could be each, could be every, could be certain, could be only once and for all. You see how ambiguous this gets? Week, 7, period of 7, days or years. Period of 7 days, a week. 7 of years. A or B. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know for sure what it is. And we shouldn't be too preoccupied with that. We know the Antichrist is going to come and perform the abomination of desolations. He shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of that week, either in the middle of the 7 days or in the middle of the 7 years, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate. The reason I will always think it's a week and not 7 years, that this has nothing to do with his reign of terror of 7 years, And then the 42 months, 1,260 days. Which I believe is something else. Because he has to rise up as an antichrist in the temple, declare something for 7 years. No, I'm sorry. So he's going to confirm a covenant. And after 3.5 years of confirming the covenant, then he's going to perform the abomination of, and that's when he returns from the dead and declares himself to be God because he has risen from the dead. Well, he confirms a covenant, and then he takes a deadly wound and disappears, and then you get war, famine, death, and then he comes back and stops the and then performs the abomination of desolation and declares himself to be God. How do you reconcile all of that with this? How do you make it all work? Because it has to work. Bible's not fake. Stuff's real. And it's very real. So how do you do it? Well, I've been gone a while, so I'm going to try to remember what I was saying. I think I was saying, how do we reconcile this? And is it possible that it's reconciled by him returning from the dead? But the world does not see what's taking place. But he, without the cameras on, without the world knowing, as the earth is now recovering from World War III, or maybe it's still like World War III is taking place, but in Israel, things have calmed enough for him to confirm a covenant. And 3.5 days later, if you want to go by hours, where it just says in the midst of that week. So we have to go back. Half, middle. So in the middle of that week. Okay. So if he does it on a Sunday, he declares it where nobody can see. And you got Monday, Tuesday, well, on Wednesday, theoretically speaking, he does the abomination of desolation. Or Thursday. And then the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consumption that be determined shall be poured upon the desolate. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at with it. That's the best I can do. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, the king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar. And the thing was true. But the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing and had understanding of the vision. In those days, Daniel was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant food, bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself at all till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. It's 21 full days. They're not talking about sets of 7 years. All right. Love y'all very much. Ask questions anytime.